Hey guys, this is E with Scrapbooking with Me, and this is what we're going to be making today. I've had lots of requests for one of these little journals, and the reason being is because of the crisis that we're in right now in our world. A lot of people want to document different things, and this just helps you. If you're like me, it helps you release and get things down on paper. So I am going to show you how to make one of these journals today. They're quick and easy. It doesn't take a lot at all to make these. So I'm making them out of scrap paper that I have and just some of that Rodea dot paper that I have in stock. So that's what we're going to make it out of today. Now I did go ahead, and I don't show this in the video, but I did go ahead and put one of those Tim Holtz elastic things on there. You don't have to do that. You can leave it like is, or just put a headband, one of those elastic headbands around it, something like that if you want to keep it closed. I just went ahead and put that in mine because I had one laying here on my desk. But it's going to have 2 signatures in it, and each signature has probably about, I'd say 15 pages. I haven't counted them. So it's going to be lots of room that we can journal and add photos and different things. And some of them you'll notice that I have tea dyed or coffee dyed, not tea dyed. And then some I have not. So it's just going to depend on what you want. But we're going to show you in the video how to construct this, how to put everything together, how to sew your signatures in, and all of that. Now, the last part of the video, you will notice that I go to a voiceover. The reason being is somehow my audio got corrupted on the last part. So I sped it up, and I have gone to voiceover. So I'm still going to explain to you how it's made and the sizes and that kind of thing. And then I'll also have the sizes, if I can possibly get them over there before the video goes up. I'll have all the sizes of everything over on my blog, and that link will always be directly below. All right, let's get into this video. So we're going to start out with some of our Rodea, I think that's how you say that, dot paper. And I've just torn quite a few sheets out. I don't know exactly how many, but I've just torn some out. Now, some of it I coffee stained and some of it I didn't. I didn't have time to coffee stain all of it and still do this video, so I just coffee stained some, and then I can always coffee stain these even though they're in my book later on, so I'm not gonna stress over that too much. And then I just folded them in the middle. I didn't cut any off or anything. I just folded them in the center down through there. I will go back and trim this edge off to make all of them even. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this up, making sure I've got all of them at the center. And then I'm going to clip this, and we're going to poke some holes in here because we're going to sew these 2 signatures in our book. Let's see, where is my tool here? Okay, I'm not going to measure. I am just going to go, I'm going to start about right there, put one in there, and I've just got a piece of foam under here. Alright, so I've got just an old piece of foam. I think it come out of packaging or something. I'm not really sure. But that's all I've got under there. And just try to go as central as you can making your hole. That one right there I got a little bit off, but I think I can fix it with no problem. There we go. We've got our holes in that. Got 3 little holes. And you can be precise if you want to. You can measure, set you up a template. I usually don't do that. I just start poking holes. Now, I do need to have these holes the same as these. So what I'm going to do, since I've already got one punched, is I'm going to take one of these off. Clip those back together. And see, I got that one a little off, but I'm going to go right over there and poke it again. Now this is where you could set up a template if you want to, and just go strictly by your template. but I usually craft on the fly, so I don't set templates up. Not very often, unless I'm doing something for a class, and then I might do that. Alright, one more. Let's poke it over here. There we go. Those look pretty good. Alright, so I'm just going to leave those clips on there for now. Leave those clips on. And we're going to make sure we got these pretty even. Oh yeah, I think they're pretty even. Now I'm going to actually sew my signatures together before I sew them onto the cover, because my cover is going to be made a little bit different. So I'm just going to sew each signature together, and then I'll add them to my cover. Now when I say signature, that's just, for those who don't know, that's just a certain amount of pages that you put together. Okay, I go down through the center. Everybody does this a little bit different. I leave a tail, and I just hold that little tail with my hand there. Then I come up through here on the top one. Then I go all the way down to the bottom one. There we go. Then I come back up through that center one. Now, whatever side this string is on, this one right here, your tail, you go on the other side of that string that goes down the center. So there's my string that goes down the center. This is the tail over here. So I'm going to go on this side of that center string, and then I'm just going to pull it kind of tight a couple of different ways, and then I will tie it off. Okay. And I leave a little tail in mine. I don't care for that hanging up in there. A lot of times I will just put a little dab of glue on there and wait till it dries good, and then I'll trim those little tails off, but that doesn't bother me. And then I can go over to my trimmer and I can trim this off to make that even. So we can take those clips off. So that signature is sewn together. You can see that. So now we need to sew this one together. And it usually takes, a lot of people say, how much string? It usually takes about 3 lengths of string to do this. So just measure this 3 times, and that should be plenty of string. Okay, let's go down through the center again. Leave that tail hanging, and then come back up through the top part up here. Go all the way down to the bottom. Then come back up through that center with the needle on the opposite side. See, this string is over here. Right there's my middle string, so I'm going to put my needle on the opposite side. That will hold everything nice and tight. So now we can pull that off. And I've had a lot of people ask me where I get those needles. I've had mine for a long time, many years, because I've always done a lot of sewing and things. But you can get those, I think, at Walmart. I know you can order them from Amazon, because I've ordered some from there before. Okay, that is sewn nice and tight. Now that length string right there, I save. I can make bows out of that. So I just put that back in my little container up there, and I can make bows out of it. All right, so that one is sewn together. Now I just need to take it. I'm going to take it over to my trimmer, and I'm going to trim these ends off nice and even, and then we'll be ready to start making the cover for this. Okay, we got those trimmed off where they're even now. All the pages are even. And now each signature I want to cover with some paper. So let's see. I'm just going to wrap this around here and look at it. And you could have sewn this into your signature. I didn't do that because I wasn't real sure exactly how I was going to do this. But I think I'm just going to fold that in the center and put it around that. I'm not going to give it a crease fold. I'm just going to press it down a little bit like that. And then I'll add this up here and see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. May have to trim off just a little bit out here on the end. I like that paper. Okay, let's see how much I need to trim. And then we can just trim this off with our trimmer, because I want this to be the same size as my paper, not any bigger. Okay, so let's trim this one down. Yes, that works right there. It's the same size. So I'm going to lay that one aside. And then I have this one for this piece. So I'm going to fold it like I did that one. And this is just, I just left it at 12 inches. And then it is cut at 8. Let's see. This is cut at 8 and 3/8. There we go. I'm just going to mark this one. And then let's see if that one is going to fit. Looks good. Okay, so that is our 2 covers for our signatures. All right, we're going to lay these aside, and then I'm going to work on the cover. Now for the cover, I'm using that lightweight chipboard because I don't want this to be real stiff like an album. I use some lightweight chipboard. We have that in stock as well. That'll be linked below. I cut these 6 by 8.5. And then a spine piece I cut at 2 5/8 by 8.5. So what this is going to do is this is going to go on the front side. This one's going to go on the back side. And then we're going to have this spine piece that's going to attach right here, and it's going to roll around. So we need to put a lot of score lines in this to make it roll. So you're going to put it up in your scoreboard. Let's see. I'm going to leave 3/4 of an inch that I'm not going to score. So I'm going to start at 3/4. And this you're going to have to press really hard on. And then I'm going to score it every 1/8 of an inch all the way over. Now I'm stopping at 1 3/4. So I started at 3/4 and I stopped at 1 3/4. And that should leave me 3/4 of an inch on each end or each side. And just kind of roll this back and forth because you want to make this to where it rolls up. You can use a paintbrush or something else to make it roll just where those score lines are, because we want it to roll and not crease. And just sticking it up on the edge of your album will make it kind of roll too. Like that. See, it's starting to roll. So that's what we want to do right there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some score tape on both sides of this where that 3/4 of an inch is. So I'm going to start right at that 3/4 of an inch mark there. That was 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to put 1/4 of an inch out here. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to stick this down to that right there, right where that first score line is. So just like that, we want to glue that down. Okay. So I'm going to pull the backing off of my score tape. And I'm just going to turn it this way and put mine on. It makes it a little bit easier since I'm right-handed. I am going to put some some art glitter glue. I am going to put some art glitter glue over this. I need wiggle room. Alright, now let's lay that down right at that score line, right up against it, making sure that both ends are even. Don't worry about seepage. We are going to cover these covers anyway. Now we're going to pull the backing off of this side of the score tape, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, art glitter glue. And make sure that you're putting it on the same side, like this is where I attached the other one. Don't attach this one around here. You're going to have one that's on the inside and one that's on the outside. So go right up to that score line. Like that. Okay, so there is our cover for our book. And see, it rounds, it rolls instead of it being bent. That's what we wanted. Now I'm going to take one of these signatures and I'm going to lay my cover on it just like I want it. Just like that. I'm going to clip again. Make it stay in place. Making sure that this center here and the center here is all even. Then we're going to bring back in our pokey tool. And I'm going to poke through that right where those holes are. Okay, got those. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, now before we sew these in, let's go ahead and decorate or put mats on these. Now, since this is a thinner chipboard, and I'm going to be putting holes in here to run my signature threads through, I'm going to put a piece of tie-back tape. This, my husband got a long time ago. I don't even know where it come from, but I'm sure you could probably get it at Walmart. But we're going to run this right down the center. And I'm putting this on before I put anything else on here. And then I'm going to run a piece on the outside too. This will just help it be strong enough to hold all of this and to from all of the opening and closing and all of that. Come on now. There we go. And it doesn't have to be exactly straight. Mine went a little crooked. That doesn't matter as long as it's over where you're going to be putting those holes in it. And you could use just plain tie-back if you don't have any tie-back tape. Or you could use just extra cardstock to put in here. Just anything to strengthen it. Okay, that's going to strengthen it a lot. And then I have cut 2 pieces of paper. These are cut at 6, let's see, let me measure to make sure. These are cut at 6 3/4 by 10. They're going to go on either side, and then we'll put a different spine piece on there. And I'm trying to decide if I want this side out or this side out. I don't know, I like that too. And then I could use a piece of this for my spine piece. I think that's what I'll do. Alrighty, so I'm going to mark about a 3/4 of an inch in. And just make me a little line like I always do so that I can have something to kind of go by. So when I lay this on there, kind of have a piece to go by like that. Now all I'm doing is bringing this piece right here, the end of that, I'm bringing it right up to that first score line. So if my first score line is right there, then I'm just going to bring that right up to that score line. Don't go by your tape, because if your tape is like mine, it's a little bit crooked. So don't go by the tape, just go by that score line. So right there is where the end of this piece of chipboard comes, and that's where we're going to lay that down, just like that. So I'm going to glue that down, hold it up and make sure that I'm not going too far. Nope, that looks good. Alright, I am going to glue this down with art glitter glue. I'm taking a chance here. I normally put score tape on these covers, but I am going to use some art glitter glue and see if I can still get a nice flat cover. I think I can, but I'm going to try it on mine, and if it doesn't work, then you don't do it on yours. Now what I want to do is take my paintbrush, and I'm just going to go over that and kind of press those little lines in a little bit so that I won't have the lines showing through my paper. Usually it doesn't show, but just as sure as I didn't do that, it would. Then I'm just going to lay it down on my mark there. Make sure that that ends on my mark. Press it down. Now see, none of those lines show through there. Isn't that neat? I can even hold it up sideways, and I don't see any of those lines, so that's good. Alright, we're going to put art glitter glue on this side. Yeah, and I'm putting a good amount so that I'll have enough to brush on. And just make sure that you wash your brush out when you finish, because this is glue and it will mess your brushes up. I usually keep this brush for just my art glitter glue and Mod Podge and things like that. Oh, I gotta make sure I'm putting them both the right way. Let's see, that one's that way, that one's that way. So I'm gonna flip it over. Okay. And then just like we do when we cover any of our chipboard, we're just gonna go around and score that a little bit so that it'll fold over. Then I'm just going to cut my corners. I cut it at an angle like that. Make sure that you leave about 1/8 of an inch or a little more between the end of the chipboard and the edge of the paper there. Okay, that right there is not glued, so we're going to glue that. Make sure that your glue caught on that tie back. If it didn't, you may have to use a different glue. That one's caught really well. So I'm just going to rub over it my bone folder again. Okay, now we can fold this up. Now I'm going to go ahead and run a piece of paper right down the center here. This is not going to show when I have my signatures in there, but it is going to just help hide anything that does happen to show around the books. So I'm just going to glue that down just like that. And I am probably going to use some Fabri-Tac. I think that might catch a little bit quicker on this tie back than the art glitter glue does. Again, I'm crafting on the fly. I've not made one like this before. So we'll see what happens. Oops. Okay, there we are. Now I'm going to do some really easy rolling. I'm not going to force this because it's not completely dry yet. But you can see that's going to be our spine. Alright, we're going to kind of leave it alone until it completely dries.